And you know I'm a sucker for when music sounds happy, but the lyrics are not happy. I love songs like that. And so this is like right up my alley. Hello and welcome to another episode of Music and Words Unite. I am your co-host Troy, and with me I have my friend and co-host Mark. How you doing, Mark?
Hello.
And today we are doing a in-depth, detailed, track-by-track album review of this album, Closer, by the band Joy Division. Now, if you're new here, welcome. Mark and I are a couple music nerds who do nothing but, for this channel, listen to albums mainly. Sometimes we do some reaction videos, but mainly albums. And it's usually an album that one or both of us hasn't heard before, and we do usually a deep dive into the album. So you kind of get to see what our reaction / review really is. Plus, it's kind of a podcast style. So if you like the idea of that, stick around. So that's what we're going to be doing. Prior to recording this, excuse me, Mark, I listened to this 6 times, this album, actually 6 times, to prepare for this one, because there's 2 albums back to back that I bought that I want to do. It's this one and the first New Order album. I think that came right after this. So I'm looking forward to that one too. But this one is all about Joy Division, Mark. So I am new to Joy Division. The only song I ever heard was Love Will Tear Us Apart.
Yep.
And to be honest with you, the only reason I even knew that song is because of Donnie Darko, to be fair.
Yep.
So, but yeah, so I'm not that familiar with this band at all. So I did some research, learned a little bit about it. You know, the singer unfortunately took his own life right after this album. Ian Curtis, I think his name is.
That's right.
And the other gentleman in the band started a new band, right? I think that's how it went, which was New Order.
All 3 of them did, actually.
Yep. Started a new band, New Order. So I am familiar with Blue Monday, but not many other New Order songs. So I'm excited to get into that band.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And I'm also familiar, Mark, with the Orgy cover of Blue Monday. Both, is what I'm saying.
That's where I first heard it.
Oh, yeah? Oh, really? Okay. That's pretty cool. You know what? Shout out to Orgy. It's a good cover, I have to say. I like that cover.
You know what? I like to make fun of nu metal, even though I do like it, but that is just a solid-ass cover, actually.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
It really is. It's good.
Okay, so enough about Orgy, though, and New Order. We're talking about Joy Division, Mark. So Joy Division has 2 albums, from what I learned. The first one, which I've never heard, and
Unknown
this one.
Pleasures.
All right. Yep. So I'm excited to talk about it. So the first song is called this album, by the way, came out in 1980, from what I understand. Yep. I was born in 81, so I wasn't alive at this time. But and I'm assuming you weren't either, Mark, because I'm older than you. So the way that math works, I'm assuming you never
know, man.
All right. So okay. So we are going to get right into it. The first song is Atrocity Exhibition, and we're going to play a clip of that. So we don't play we're not going to play the full album. We're going to play clips of every song and then do a deep dive and talk about what I thought about it as a newbie and what Mark thought about it as someone who's very familiar with this. So here we go. So that was a clip from the beginning of Atrocity Exhibition. So if you've never heard this album, but the first song sounds like, all my notes are on my phone on this one, Mark, so I'm going to be looking down a few times. I took a bunch of notes. So, okay, what did I think about this? Well, I didn't know what to expect, to be honest with you, as far as the music goes. I had heard Levels Will Tear Us Apart. This doesn't sound like that. So I was surprised, I would say, listening to this. I love the groove, though. There's like a nice little drum groove with the bass, and it's very hypnotic and very infectious. So musically, it's pretty sparse, I would say. Sparse and a bit minimalistic, you know? Mainly just bass and drums, a little bit of guitar kind of going on in the background. But I was cool. I dig it. But yeah, overall, I thought the music was pretty cool, different, hypnotic, like I said. I love the bass. I love the drums. And what also surprised me on the whole album, to be honest with you, was his vocal style. I wasn't sure what to expect. So a lot of almost like spoken word stuff in some of the songs, like not totally singing per se, you know, some of the songs he's singing, of course, but it's kind of a mix of speaking and singing on some parts, and which is cool. We'll get to the other songs, but for this one, he's definitely singing. I think what stood out to me on the whole record, to be honest with you, are the lyrics.
Oh yeah.
I think the lyrics are very interesting on this album. In particular, I'm almost curious, Mark. I'm going to give you one chance, and I won't reveal it until we get there. But it's not this song, so that's a spoiler. What do you think my favorite song on this album is? I do have a clear favorite. Yeah. Predict. Yeah, I want you to predict.
I feel like most of the time we have this very similar favorites.
Okay.
I'm between two.
Okay.
I'm going to say 24 Hours.
Okay. That's the one you picked. Okay. All right. We'll find out.
The other choice would have been Decades.
Okay. All right. So it all will be revealed in time, Mark. All right. Okay. So for me, though, I want to talk about the lyrics because I don't have as much to say about the music on this one, although I did like the song. I thought it was a good song as far as the music goes. The lyrics are very interesting. Atrocity Exhibition. Apparently, it's based on a short story of the same name where the short story was about someone who keeps apparently changing their name and is fantasizing obsessively about celebrities. That's what the short story is about or something like that. But I haven't read the short story. Now I kind of want to read it. I think I will read it, actually. I want to know what he read to write this song, actually. When I was reading the lyrics, though, it actually made me think of quite a few things. So at the beginning, he's talking about observing people. He says, asylums with doors open wide where people had paid to see inside. For entertainment, they'd watch his body twist. Behind his eyes, he says, I still exist. So apparently there was a thing that people used to do where they would go inside or insane asylums, I guess what they called them back then, and they would pay and observe people being beaten and whipped as entertainment. Think of this as a real thing that happened that people did. And so this is talking about that as like an exhibition of an atrocity or an observation of it, right? And I think, and there's other things where he's talking about, like the second verse is, in arenas, he kills for a prize, wins a minute to add to his life, but the sickness is drowned by cries for more. Pray to God, make it quick, watch him fall. So it's talking about gladiators, I think, there. And, as the song goes on, but I actually think that there's a parallel here of his own epilepsy. So what I read is that one of the reasons he took his own life was because he had this issues with epilepsy and he was suffering.
So when he would perform, you know how like stages there's flashing lights and stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of times he would go into like epileptic like convulsions, and a lot of people just thought he was like dancing because he would kind of like shake and do this like stuff on stage, but he was actually having like an episode. And like, I guess that was like extremely, embarrassing to him. So like, it just affected he was already like an extremely depressed person. So it just made it that much worse.
Right. I'm not laughing because what he did. I'm just laughing because it's just crazy to just think about that. But it's
really sad.
What's crazy about it is that I'm being serious. I don't know. Did people not know that like flashing lights causes seizures for the people with epilepsy?
I think it's more along the lines that like he didn't tell anybody he had epilepsy.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. That's just like conjecture. I don't 100% know if that's the facts, but this is just like this is just anecdotal through like what I read about stuff with him.
Right.
So
Gotcha. Okay. Well, yeah. So overall, I think it's probably a parallel. If you think about that, if you think about that first verse in particular, asylums with doors wide open where people had paid to see inside for entertainment, they'd watch his body twist like the epileptic seizures. You know what I mean? Behind his eyes, he says, "I still exist," saying there's still a person in here, even though I look like a dancing fool or whatever you think I look like, because you don't know what's going on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, "This is the way, step inside." So he's almost like step inside to the exhibition of just the horrors that I'm going through.
The horrors.
That's what,
exactly.
yeah. And he's paralleling like previous atrocities or bad human behavior of observation, right? Like think about that first. I mean, the gladiators are one thing, but think about paying to go observe people being beaten in a mental hospital. Like what? How is, I can't even fathom that. Like, I mean, I know human beings are pretty messed up, but yeah, it's just messed up. And I think there's a lot, he's talking about a lot of messed up stuff on this album. So yeah, Mark, what did you think about this song?
To add on to what you just said there, like there is a lot of messed up on this album, and it's I don't think people realized it until like maybe later on, but a lot of these lyrics are like, you know, pointed inwards at himself. And I think basically almost every track, the lyrics are in some way about him and his struggles.
Right.
But as far as like the music goes on this song, like the drum, like the almost tribal sounding drums and like the bass line are they remind me of the band Can, who I brought up before, the German band.
Okay.
They kind of have like, there's like tribal drum beats, like they're very funky. And
Right.
I'm sure that Joy Division was a huge fan, because like that post-punk movement, like with The Cure and all that stuff, they were all big fans of that, like 70s German krautrock stuff. I love it too. I mean, but yeah, it's very, you're right, it's very sparse, like with his vocals. It's kind of just like the same thing, like over and over, like the same drum beat, like a lot of like little bass lines and stuff. I want to read a quote here, because this like really sums this song up absolutely, like more perfectly than I can ever say. Ned Raggett of AllMusic said, "This is one of the least likely opening songs from any album ever. Even if the core chorus from Ian Curtis is 'This is the way, step inside.'"
Right.
Which makes so much sense, because it's like, you know, he's inviting you to listen to this album, but this song is like so like sparse and desolate, and like it's talking about like you said, like going into like a hospital and watching like these like mental patients like twist and writhe and, you know, scream and whatever. It's just like it's almost off-putting really when you read the lyrics, but the human curiosity kind of wants to just keep going. So I think that's kind of where people were at. But yeah, I think this track is great. I love every song on this album. I love this album. I can't really express how much I love this album.
Okay.
It's a very loved album by me.
Sure.
So I love every
many
track.
From what I was reading, yeah, a lot of people love this.
Yeah,
album.
I mean, I used to prefer Unknown Pleasures for the longest time, but I think in recent years this one has really crept up. So.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, okay. So the next song is Isolation. I'm gonna skip like a little bit and place there.
Every day, every evening, cause for a love above. Carefully watch for a reason. He's taking devotion and love. Surrendered to self-reservation from others who care and self. Blindness that touches perfection, but curses like anything else.
I love the little
Isolation.
This is the best part, in my opinion. This verse, really good.
Mother, I tried to believe me. I'm doing the best that I can. I'm ashamed of the things I've been put through. I'm ashamed of the person I am.
Couldn't have said it more obvious.
Isolation.
Poor guy.
All right, so that was a clip from Isolation. On first listen to the album, this is probably my favorite on the first listen.
Okay.
But I'm 6 listens in, so things change over time. But that means I do really like the song. If it was originally my favorite.
Well, I got
track
good
on it.
news for you. This is kind of like a glimpse into like the New Order future here. So
Oh yeah,
um,
okay. I think I'm gonna like New Order then.
like
Yeah,
more
probably.
like danceable, like
Mm-hmm.
kind of like synth laden little I don't really even know what to call it. Kind of like a little melodic like synthesizer throughout. You'll like it. Is what I'm
All
saying.
right. All right. So musically though, let's talk about the music first. Music is really good on this track. I love the bass line is really good. That doo-dah, doo-dah. There's like a descending synth line in the chorus that's really good. His vocal melody is really good on this one. It's very
Yeah.
catchy. It's like kind of poppy in a way. Da-da-da-da-da-da. It's very poppy actually. The melody of the
is.
song. And which is why I like it. It's got the happy sad thing going on. We were talking about that pre-episode, and I'm a sucker for when music sounds happy but the lyrics are not happy. I love songs
yeah.
like that, and so this is like right up my alley. Is what I'm saying.
This is
That's
a
probably
big
why it
one,
was
yeah.
That's why it was like my first listen. I was like, oh, yeah, it's my favorite because it's got the happy sad. Because most of these songs just sound sad. This one doesn't sound sad to me. It sounds happy, so I really liked it.
Agreed.
Like it sounds like you could just dance to it in a club, you know what I mean? And then you're singing really sad lyrics, and you're like, yeah, I'm in there, So anyway, so I like that. So musically, I mean, a lot of these songs are fairly minimalistic sounding. I would say there's not a ton of like overdubs. You know what I mean? It's pretty like it kind of sounds like you'd go to see the band live, probably what they sound like. To me, that's what I was getting out of listening to this record, which is fine, which is cool, because what it allows you to do when you have a recording like that and a mix like that, it allows you to focus more on the words. And I think that maybe that's what he wanted in a way,
Right.
And because the words are something else in this song. I'm going to read the first little bit. In fear every day, every evening, he calls her aloud from above, carefully watch for a reason, painstaking devotion and love. Surrender to self-preservation from others who care for themselves. A blindness that touches perfection, but he hurts just like anything else. Man, I'm going to read this again, just so I'm from my own knowledge. A blindness that touches perfection. But hurts just like anything else. Apparently, Mark, I had read that he cheated on his wife or something like that.
Yeah, with a Danish photographer, I think, was it? Or
I think it was a journalist, maybe. What I was reading.
journalist. Yeah, but she was Danish. I got that right?
Oh, okay. I can't, that I don't know. I just read journalist, but the
Yeah. Let me go ahead. Keep going. I'll look it up.
But the idea of cheating on your wife and maybe regretting it, I don't know. But I think he was struggling with committing adultery. Is what I'm saying. I don't think he was happy about it. I don't think he was proud of himself. You know what I mean? I think this album is a lot of self-reflection. You know what I mean? And if you look at where he says, "Mother, I tried. Please believe me. I'm doing the best that I can. I'm ashamed of the things that I've been put through. I'm ashamed of the person I am." I mean, that's pretty obvious. But I would imagine if you were living your life and you really did love your wife, or at one time, I don't know, but you cheated on her and maybe you have other stuff going on that you're not proud of on top of it. I don't know if he was into drugs or not. I have no idea. I don't want to put that on somebody, but a lot of musicians back then were, or even still, I guess. So maybe there was things that he's not proud of that he was doing, and he's like talking to his mom, and that's always something, tugs on your heart when you're talking to your parents in a song. You know what I mean? You're like, man, like, because as a parent of a 4.5-year-old at this point, I can imagine like, all you want is your kid to be a good person. You want them to be successful, but ultimately, more so than money, you obviously don't want them to be broke, you know what I mean? But you'd want them to just have enough money to, at a minimum, live life, you know what I mean? Where you're not homeless or anything like that. But more so than anything, you want your kid to be a good person, in my opinion. You know what I mean? You just want your kid to be a good person. And whatever they want to do in life, they can choose. But you don't want a criminal. You know what I mean? You don't want like someone that's hurting other people is what by criminal. Like someone that abuses other people, that takes advantage of people. You don't want anything like that, right? Like, do you feel like if you've accomplished that as a parent, You know what I mean? Like you've done something, right? You've done something right. No matter how much money they have or whatever. So
Right.
the point is, though, maybe what he was going through was he was seeing himself like, damn, like, what will my mom say about me behaving like this? You know what I mean? Like, I really regret what I'm doing right now. I don't feel like a good person. I feel like isolation. Like, I feel in isolation, and maybe I deserve it. You know, maybe he was thinking about that. Maybe I deserve isolation. Maybe this depression that I'm feeling, I deserve. It's like, you know, beating yourself up, self-guilt. And I get some of that vibes throughout the whole album, but in a song, you know. What do you think about the song, Mark?
It doesn't really fit with the rest of the album, which, you know, isn't a problem per se. Yeah, I think it's a good glimpse into like what would become with New Order, where it's like it's still a really like sad track, but it's danceable. So like you don't pay if you don't pay the lyrics any attention, you would never know the difference. So
Right.
it's very catchy. The like synthesizer melody is great. It's super
Yeah.
you know super danceable and catchy. Like I said, his vocals are you know better in this song, more melodic. He doesn't really have like any type of melody in his vocals for it really. Like he's kind of just like you said like monotone. But that's like the whole thing, you know. Like it's like the post punk sound, I guess. But yeah, I mean, you read these lyrics and like it's just like I'm just reading them now and I'm just kind of just like getting upset to myself. Like this man had serious depression. My goodness.
Yeah.
And I want to correct what I said earlier. The woman he had an affair with was a Belgian woman named Annick Honore, and she was Belgian. She was a journalist.
Okay. All right.
So one of the things I think that maybe kind of led him down that path was the fact that he married his wife when he was like 18 or 17. That's really young to get married. I don't care what period of time you're in. Like, you're still a kid. Like, you shouldn't be getting married at 17. And the fact that like he was like life on the road, like touring in England and stuff, and they, you know, right before he died, they were about to tour America. Like that gets to you, like being away from them. Like I think he had a daughter too at that point, like a really young daughter. And like I'm not like justifying cheating on your wife, but I'm just saying like this is like the pitfalls of, you know, being in an active band and being away from your wife. I mean, he was only 23 years old when he died. Like,
Yeah.
he's so young, and it's just like
Right.
it's really sad, to be honest. And like, you know, you look at these lyrics and everything and you read these lyrics and it's just like I don't think this guy was ever happy, even like as his band started to take off. And the really sad part is this album came out 2 months after he died, and the single for Love Will Tear Us Apart was like 3 months after he died. So he never even got to like really enjoy any like, you know, like appreciation or any type of like, you know, stardom. Like didn't even get to tour the US, and
Was Love
really sad.
Love Will Tear Us Apart on the previous album?
no, it was just a standalone single.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I have a feeling that they probably would have put it on the next album they made, but you know, obviously that
see.
never came to be. So,
Right. I see.
but yeah, not to like, you know, stray far from what we're talking about. This is like I think this is one of the best tracks on the album personally.
I did.
Just
see
for
that.
like its catchiness and its danceability, and obviously like the lyrics on every song are great. If you like sad stuff like me and Troy, so yeah, great song.
Yeah. All right. The next one is Passover. Play a clip.
This is a crisis I knew had to come, destroying the balance I'd kept. doubting, unsettling, and turning around, wondering what will come next. Is this the role that you wanted to live? I was foolish to ask for so much. Without the protection and infancy's garb, it all falls apart at first touch. Watching the reel as it comes to a close, brutally taking its time. People who change for no reason at all, happening all of the time. Can I go on with this train of events, disturbing and purging my mind? Back out of my duties when all's said and done, I know that I'll lose every time.
That was a couple minutes of Passover, a clip from Passover. I don't think I have as much to say about the music on this one. It's very sparse, minimalistic on this one. Some nice little kind of arpeggiated guitar going on. The bass groove is nice. One of the things about this band I've noticed is the bass grooves are always really nice. The drums are pretty basic, basic little pattern, but the bass grooves really make it, drive. So musically, it's cool. The way he's singing it what it reminds me of, man? It reminds me so much of, I'm not trying to be insulting. I do like the songs, but it just reminds me of this. You ever see the South Park goth kids?
Yeah.
Where they like flip their hair and they're like dancing and they're the way that they... the way that they dance stuff, I don't know. It reminds me of that. I can see them like dancing to this song, and it would fit right in. You know what I mean? Yeah, but this song, obviously, spoiler, every song on the album is good. So that's just a spoiler from my opinion. I like some more than others, to be fair. I wouldn't say this is like one of my favorites on the record, although I do think it's a good song. Again, though, what carries these songs for me is the lyrics, actually. But this song just has a mood to the music where the mood is very strong. It's got that bass line. It's good, right? But the lyrics are, I think, Mark, like a lot of these lyrics are very interesting because I love lyrics that have dual meanings. And a lot of his lyrics seem to have kind of dual meanings to them, like the one about the atrocities. And this is another one because this one is called Passover, which obviously has biblical implications about what that is talking about.
Right.
But I'm just going to read the first verse. This is a crisis I knew had to come, destroying the balance I'd kept, doubting, unsettling, and turning around. Wonder what will come next. Is this the role you wanted to live? I was foolish to ask for so much. Without the protection and infancy's guard, it all falls apart at first touch. So if you... I think this song is talking about, let's say unaliving yourself, in my opinion. Yeah, even look at the cover. Okay.
Yeah.
The cover is someone that looks like dead, and people are warning this person. This is always like a statue, but this is what this is representing, right? And the title is Closer, and you have to think about closer to what? Well, I'm just laughing because the whole thing is I don't know. When I look at the cover, I read the lyrics, I look at the term closer, I'm like, maybe he's talking about closer to his own death. Honestly, that's what the album's. That's what it reminds me of when I see this stuff. But when you think about what Passover is, right? Passover is really about this angel of death in a way, right? That's going and sent out by God to kill a bunch of people. Right? I think that's what it's about. Like there's this plague, you know what I mean? It's kind of like an angel of death and it's going around. And he told the Jews basically at the time, hey, if you put this mark over your door, I'll pass you over and you won't die. You know what I mean? In fact, that's exactly what the song Creeping Death by Metallica is about, literally, exactly.
Mm.
Awesome song, by the way. So one of the best, I would say. Anyway, bless you. So yeah. So how does that relate to maybe your own self demise? I'll put it that way. Well, if there's this impending doom, right, that's chasing, you could kind of pray or wish for a Passover. Maybe that's what he means by it. I don't know. I'm just reading the lyrics, but maybe he realizes he's never going to get it. He's not going to be passed over. He's going to be one of the non-lucky ones, I guess. But anyway, that's what I get out of it. Mark, what do you think about this song?
Yeah, I agree. I focus more on like the lyrics for this song. Like I like the syncopated drums and the bass line. Like it's like, what I'm getting at here. Yeah, the lyrics on this song are just like, I mean, I think you read this already, but can I go on with this train of events, disturbing and purging my mind back out of my duties? When all is said and done, I know that I'll lose every time. I read that he did, I don't know if he went to school for it, but he did a lot of research in like divinity and like, religious studies. So I think he had like a very like kind of like, like he had like did more studies on like, the mind and like its relation to like, religion and stuff. And I always thought of Ian Curtis as more of like he's more of like a poet than a singer to me, because
I can hear
his
that,
lyrics
yeah.
are very, very deep and very like, ominous, and they're very like closely like related to him, and very like just very dark, honestly. Like, I mean, this is like the crown jewel of like goth music, I think, because it's just it really taps into like the dark, like unaliving yourself psyche, like with these lyrics. And it's just like I find it amazing to me that his bandmates, his wife, his other friends, like, they didn't do more to like help this guy. I feel like he's like screaming for help with these lyrics. I don't know. I remember reading that like the guys from New Order said like years later they like reread the lyrics and they're like, oh man, Ian, like we probably should have helped him. It's like, wow, guys, really? Like seriously?
Right.
But this is like this song is like definitely a big example for me of like one of those ones where he's just like screaming for help to people. And but otherwise it's a good song. It's not, I don't think it's one of the strongest on the album, but it's still solid.
Yeah, it's definitely gothy, this song. It's super gothy.
Yeah.
The next one is Colony. I'll play a clip from that. A clip from Colony. This one I really like. The groove is really good, man. The bass and drum, it's kind of like, it's really groovy, this song. And I like the lyrics a lot too, and the melody on this one. Yeah, I don't have as much to say about the music on this one, except I do like it a lot. It's one of the, I'm not gonna say it's my favorite, but it's up, it's a really good one. But the chorus is like in this colony. Maybe I should play the chorus. Let me see. Let me skip a little bit. All right, I'll play a little bit here.
No
clip from Colony. Yeah, Mark, this one is the music. I like the music a lot. It's got a great groove. It's kind of, I'm not going to call it funky, but it's got a really nice groove to it. And the guitar is kind of built. It has this really thin, very trebly sounding guitar, which is quite interesting. You know, at least the music I listen to, you don't hear that too much. But what it does is when you have the guitar mixed that way, it doesn't overlap at all with the bass. Because I've noticed in a lot of goth music, Mark, that I'm pretty new to goth music, to be fair. Except like Typo Negative is considered goth, I know, but and maybe some of the Cure stuff I heard, but not all of it. I would have friends saying, "Oh yeah, a lot of the Cure is more like pop music, but they have gothy stuff too." You know, it depends on what Cure songs you're listening to. I know, I mean, you're the goth expert, so you can tell me. But the point is, though, you know, Cure does have some more poppy songs. You know what I mean, like for sure. But yeah, but obviously, like there's an album behind my head. This one right there. I mean, that's got to be pretty gothy, right? This integration. Yeah. We did an episode on that, by the way. If you want to go check that out on the channel there. But anyway, but yeah, what I was saying is I noticed there's a theme with a lot of goth music, and a lot of these songs are driven by the bass. Like the bass is very forward in this music for some reason. I'm not sure why. It just seems to be a staple of the sound of goth, a lot of goth music. Even when I would listen to Sisters of Mercy, for example, the bass is very forward. This band is forward. A lot of the Cure stuff is very forward. Typo Negative, Peter Steele is a bass player. You know what I mean? The bass is very prominent in that. I think a lot of the music is written from the bass lines. That's what it seems like. And then they just kind of fill in guitars and stuff like over top of it almost. That's what this sounds like. As far as the lyrics go, very interesting. What I get out of it is, you know, similar to the Isolation song, similar concept, I would say. But it's more about when you're surrounded by a bunch of people, let's say live or fans, stuff like that, bandmates, people, like your colony, but you feel isolated and alone, you know? And to me, that's what the song is talking about. I don't think it's that like hard to understand, really. But I mean, there's clearly obvious lyrics. Like, I can see why all these confrontations. I can see why all these dislocations. No family life. This makes me feel uneasy. Stood alone here in this colony. So remember, you're talking about not being around your family, your kid, your wife, right? So he's standing and he feels totally alone while he's surrounded by a bunch of people. And I can imagine musicians struggle with that a lot. You know who deserves a big shout out though is Adrian Belew, because he would write all these songs on the King Crimson albums about this topic, but it was always from the perspective of like he loves his wife. Like he can't wait to go home and hang out with his wife. It was like the opposite.
Yep.
Like
literally the opposite.
Yeah. So shout out to you, sir. Good man, Adrian Belew. Seems like loyal, faithful man, Adrian Belew. But anyway, Mark, what do you think about this song?
Yeah, I like this song a lot too, man. That bass line is too good. It's too funky and groovy. I want to say a lot of these lyrics on this album are like free to interpretation, but some of them aren't. I think this is kind of one of the ones where it's like a little bit more like left up to the imagination. Okay. I think a lot of these lyrics have to deal with, you know, alienation and regret and like remorse for certain things. And I just think that like he was very upset at himself for like you said, like his past regressions, like cheating on his wife and you know, his epilepsy fits when he would perform live. He was probably embarrassed and alienated himself even more. And I know he was big on like Franz Kafka, like who also like wrote about self alienation and stuff. So I think the lyrics of this song kind of hint towards that too. Like, you know, like some of the lyrics here that I'm reading, like, a worried parent's glance, a kiss, a last goodbye, hams in the bag she packed, the tears she tries to hide. Like, just sending them away. Like, just any type of, like, isolation is what I get from this track. But lyrics aside, music on this song is great. That bass line, like I said, is just too good. This is probably... I would say this is probably in the top 3 of my favorites on here. Okay. This is one I always enjoy every time I hear it. So
awesome. Well, let's move on to the next one, which is A Means to an End. So that was a clip from A Means to an End. Another very bass-driven song, a bass-forward song. Music is good. The guitar is really catchy when it's like, it's like this kind of, the little arpeggiated guitar parts. The really nice kind of layering in there. It's pretty low in the mix, but it's a really melodic ad there. Again, it's a little more spoken wordy, on this one. A little bit less singing. It's just kind of a descending melody. And of course, the lyrics seem to be similar. It seems like talking about his divorce. That's what it seems like when I'm reading this. And I don't have as much to say about the lyrics on this one. I think it seems pretty evident that he's talking about that, talking to his ex-wife potentially, or wife. I don't know if they ever got divorced. I don't know if they actually got divorced or they were going through it. I don't know if you know, but it doesn't really matter, I guess, if you intend to get divorced legally, if the paperwork has come in or not. It's more about your relationship ending. Let's just more so than the legality of the divorce or whatever. But yeah, I would say he's talking to his ex or so. And yeah, Mark, but I do think it's a cool song. It's a good one. What did you think about this one?
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to interpret the lyrics a little bit. Yeah, music wise, it has you're right. This whole album is really bass driven. I think this song has the most guitar in it though. It's kind of punchy sounding, Yeah, I think this song, I agree with you. I think it's kind of he had his wife in mind. But I also think that this one's so the whole album I think is very kind of nihilistic, where because I'm sure he was really into that kind of literature. I'm sure he read Nietzsche and stuff like that. I think this one kind of isn't nihilistic though. I think it's kind of reaching out to friends or family and I put my trust in you. I don't know. That's just kind of the interpretation I get. I could be completely wrong too. I have no idea, but that's kind of the vibe I get from the song. I don't really have much to say about this one, other than I do like it. I think it's a good track. Music's good. Yeah, and his it's spoken word really. So I said too, I think he's more of a poet than a singer personally, but another solid track.
Next up is my favorite song on the record, Mark, which is called...
Wow, really? Heart and Soul, huh?
Yeah, there you go. Okay. That was a spoiler. I said you didn't guess it, but good try almost. All right.
That was close.
Sometimes you have guessed them in the past. So. All right, here we go. Let's play a clip from this one. I love the drum group and the bass group.
Yeah, it's so good.
half the song. Yeah, it's my favorite song on the record. Not only because of the vibes and the mood of it. I love the drum groove. The drum groove is really good with the bass. But I love the guitar stuff. There's some synth stuff coming in there. There's some really nice guitar layering coming in there for the music. So I love the vibe of the song. The mood it sets, super into that. I love the way he sings this. They put a ton of reverb on his voice.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
And it's just because of the reverb to it, it does set this vibe, you know, this mood to it. But let's talk about the lyrics, man. So I am going to talk. It says, instincts that can still betray us. A journey that leads to the sun, soulless and bent on destruction. A struggle between right and wrong. So if you think about that, how can an instinct betray you? Well, instinct can betray a lot of ways, because if you do something just based on your instincts, it could go terribly wrong if you don't really think about it, think through it, you know? So maybe he's talking about his adultery. I don't know, you know? A journey that leads to the sun. Soulless and bent on destruction. So maybe there's some kind of Icarus metaphor there with that. Like following your instincts can lead you to this destruction. You know what I mean? That's what he's talking about. Okay. A struggle between right and wrong. So, you know, you're struggling with that. Am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the wrong thing? Maybe I think I'm doing the right thing, but I'm struggling with it, kind of thing. I humbly ask for forgiveness. This is an interesting lyric. I humbly ask for forgiveness, a request well beyond you and I, meaning it's not just you who has to forgive me. It's everyone around that's impacted by these decisions that I made from my instincts. So I'm kind of reading into that. And then he said, and the kind of the most interesting lyric here, poetic, I would say. Heart and soul, one will burn. That's the chorus, just repeated over and over again.
It is. Yes, it is.
And so if you think about him maybe talking to his wife or something like that, one will burn. One will burn. Like if you're cheating on somebody, right? Whether it's your person that you're cheating on is going to burn, that relationship is going to burn, like the heart and soul, right? One of the situation is going to burn, you know? And so I think it's pretty obvious what he's talking about here. He's talking about his relationship and the adultery and all that. So I think on the surface, that's what he's talking about. You could also read it in metaphor, right? So like one metaphor might be, so for example, heart and soul, let me just think about this. One will burn. So maybe, now I'm going deep here on this one, Mark. Going deep on this one, but
okay.
That's why we do these episodes. I'm thinking through it live on the fly. Okay, alternative meanings, because I know he's a poet, and I know it's a lot of times poetry is not just a surface level topic. A lot of times there's double meanings and stuff like that. So heart and soul, one will burn. So maybe he's talking about his soul burning, like in hell. Because there's been religious imagery on this. There's talking about the Passover, for example, right? You're talking about his studying the divinity stuff, right? So maybe he's using a metaphor for his soul burning. You know what I mean? And when he says like heart and soul, one will burn, maybe he's talking about his soul. And the way that his soul is going to burn is through the heartbreak. You know what I mean? This kind of heartbreak that he's causing on other people is going to cause his own soul to burn. So it's like, might be this self-reflection, you know? Okay. So I think it's actually a fairly deep song. That has probably a couple meanings to it. What do you think about this song, Mark? This is my favorite song because of what I'm talking about, because of the depth of the lyrics, the introspection, the vibe of the music. I like it all. What do you think about this one?
Right. I think this is another one that could really be interpreted a lot of different ways. The way I interpretate it is, I think it's kind of similar to the last song, where it's like an apology to people that he may have, wronged in the past, like his wife, of course.
Right.
I don't know really who else. I don't know, enough about him. But like the lines here, like existence, well, what does it matter? I exist on the best terms I can. The past is now part of my future. The present is well out of my hand. The present is well out of hand. Heart and soul, one will burn. Heart and soul, one will burn. And I take that as like, like I can't change the past. I can't, change what I've done. and now that's come back to like be part of my future, you know, maybe like with his wife, like with the divorce proceedings, or his depression getting worse, or any other type of like, you know, faults in his personality or relationships or anything like that. But I think there was just a lot more than that going on too. I think there was like, you know, his depression and a lot of other things, and what he was probably reading, like what kind of literature he was digesting at the time. Like I said, he did like a lot of divinity research. I don't know if he went to school for it or not. But that's kind of what I get from the lyrics. I like your interpretation too, and I definitely think that's an avenue you could take. Because I think these are still kind of supposed to be ambiguous at the same time, but as far as the music goes, yeah, I mean the music in this song is great. Bass line is great. The drum, it's got like the kind of like not a similar drum beat to Atrocity Exhibition, but like in the same vein, like a tribal-ish beat to it. It sounds awesome. Yeah, and I love the reverb on his voice. I kind of wish they did that more on here because I think it sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is another top tier song. I think like I really like the last 4 tracks a lot. So, one of them being kind of like unorthodox, I guess, a little bit, but we'll talk about that when we get to it.
All right. So the next song is 24 Hours, which you thought was my favorite, if I remember.
I did.
So let's hear that one. This sounds like The Cure almost. But I guess, let me stop it here. Let's vice versa. The Cure came out in the 70s too, right? I think so.
Yeah, first album was 79. Same year as this.
Same time period, right? But when I hear this, it reminds me of Disintegration a little bit, this song.
I could see that.
Yeah, I think that probably definitely influenced. All right, let's play it back. Bass forward. Bass is the focus. Again, that was kind of my note here. So that was a clip from 24 Hours. Mark, this is probably my second favorite song on the record. So it's between this and the last one. I think I like the music for this one better, actually. It's just the last one. I really like the lyrics so much. But
this might be
1A and 1B.
It's probably one's probably my favorite. This, or I won't say until later.
All right.
So go ahead.
So you're pretty much right. I mean, you're pretty spot on how much I like this song compared, as far as like comparatively, this is at the top tier for me. I mean the music, it's got the goths like sound for me, that bass sound with the chorus going on. And again, I'm newer to it, but that's what I'm picking up. But man, it rocks too. It's kind of the most rocking song so much when it kind of kicks in, and yeah, it's really good. And I love the vibe of this. The way he sings it is like, obviously it's sad sounding. It's a little bit spoken wordy, but it works with this song, The lyrics, I'm not going to get as much into it, spend as much time on it, but I'll just say one thing. I think, I don't know exactly, a lot of this stuff is ambiguous, but what I get out of this, Mark, is that maybe he's talking about, well, there's a lyric here where he says, so this is permanence, love, shattered pride, what once was innocence turned on its side. A cloud hangs over me, marks every move, deep in the memory of what once was love. I mean, it obviously sounds, again, like he's talking about his marriage. And oh, how I realized how I wanted time. Put into perspective, tried so hard to find, just for one moment, thought I'd found my way. Destiny unfolded, I watched it slip away. So at the end, actually, it kind of reads a little bit optimistic at the end. Now that I realized how it's all gone wrong, gotta find some therapy. This treatment takes too long. Deep in the heart of where sympathy held sway, gotta find my destiny before it gets too late. So this is someone who's struggling, who is, as you said, is literally like crying out for help, right? Mm-hmm. He says, I gotta find therapy. And he's saying like, it's taking too long. Like I can't get past it. I can't get through it, right? Gotta find my destiny before it's too late. So he's really saying like the time is, it basically sounds like he's saying time is running out for me. And I gotta find out what to do. I gotta find a way out, you know? So this song is definitely a cry for help. It definitely could be the best song on the album, Mark. Could be my favorite. Maybe I just really resonated with the lyrics of the last song. But, you know, for me, it's between top two of this one and the previous one. Although, let me look at what's coming up next. I don't know. We'll see when we get there. But yeah, they're two of my favorites. What did you think about this one, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, this is, you know, this it's between this and another track. I just think that like the build up in the beginning, the transition, like the when it kicks in, it's just like, oh man, it's just too good. Like it's goth ecstasy, honestly, when you hear it. This is like one of the ones that I always come back to. Like just like sometimes I'll just put this track on, or like maybe one or two others, but it just resonates with me. Like not even just lyrically, just with like the music too. Like I love slow builders, especially when they like kicked in and like you know like crescendo tracks. And this is definitely just one of the best. I think this is like a top 3 like overall. I think Joy Division song.
Okay.
Just like musically and like lyrically. Like there's probably songs with better lyrics, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
But like, you know, again, like this is another track that I think deals with like, you know, wasted time or lost love or, you know, stuff like along those lines, and just the usual like crippling depression that Ian Curtis had for his short lifetime. And yeah, this track is more, I like it more for the sonic side than the lyrics.
I agree. But the lyrics are good too. Yeah, they're good.
The lyrics are good too. But like I said, like some tracks have better lyrics, I think, than this. But yeah, I think this is like when you take like the music and the lyrics, I think the total package just is like probably the best, if not second best. But to go listen to it for yourself. I mean, you
totally agree.
Like
go listen to it.
So,
it's really good, man. This is a really good song.
This is an
probably my favorite. Yeah,
this is an album that you should listen to all the way through too. Don't skip. So.
Hell yeah. Musically, I would say, Mark, that song is probably my favorite as far as music goes. Yeah, it's a good one. The next one is The Eternal. Now we're getting gothic.
Really?
Procession moves on, the shouting is over. Praise to the glory of loved ones now gone. Talking aloud as they sit round their tables, scattering flowers washed down by the rain. Stood by the gate at the foot of the garden, like clouds in the sky. Try to cry out in the heat of the moment, possessed by a fury that burns from inside.
Was a clip from The Eternal. I got to be honest with you, Mark. This song's a bit hard to listen to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's probably my least favorite on the record, I would say.
Really?
And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
It's almost too depressing. Like there's like a limit where I like depressing music, obviously. But then there's a limit sometimes. You know what it is? Sometimes I just don't want to listen to it. You know what I mean? It's not like the song's bad. The song is not bad. There's no bad songs on this record. Let me just state that. Mm-hmm. It's a good. Okay. The song is good. I mean, as a depressing song, it's very good. Let me put it that way. Okay, so let me just state that. That doesn't mean I necessarily want to listen to it, though. Two different things. Maybe it's where I'm at in my life. Sometimes listening to this music a lot is hard for me to listen to, especially some of the lyrics on this one. I mean, obviously, we know what happened after this record, right? Mm-hmm. This is the most obvious song about what he's about to do to himself, I would say. That's the way I read it. And that makes it more depressing because a lot of times, for example, 9 Inch Nails, right? You listen to the Downward Spiral. A lot of that music is depressing, right? Fair enough. Okay. But he didn't do it. He's alive. He's doing really well right now. So because of that, it kind of has a different vibe to it because you can listen to it and you go, it's okay. We all get depressed, but we all move on. But then when somebody writes a song like this and they actually do it right after, you're like, damn, like, okay, maybe this is like you know what I mean? This is a really depressing song. I mean, it has a different feeling to it. And then on top of that, the lyrics about his kid in the second one are really hard to read as a dad, to be honest with you. Mark, what do you think about this song?
So I just wanted to say that read, I don't know how true it is, but I read that this song is not about his child. It's about a boy he knew with Down syndrome.
Okay. Well, maybe I'm wrong.
The lyrics are about, him getting obviously like the short end of the stick here and being incredibly unlucky with getting, except like a curse and unlucky deal played by the gate at the foot of the garden.
So
I don't know if that changes your mind at all. And I don't know how true that is because I'm reading this, from possibly a secondhand position here, but that's what it says here in my notes. So I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know. We'll never know because he's gone. So
sure. And I'm not trying to be judgmental, but at the same time, I mean, I do feel strongly about this topic that if you have a kid, you have responsibility.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah. Yeah. So whether or not he was directly talking about it, knowing what he was going through at the time with all the other songs, right? It's pretty easy to make that leap to read these lyrics and say, okay, he's talking about his kid. Because in the first verse, let me go back to it real quick. He's not talking about his kid in the first verse. For sure. Like he's not talking about children at all, unless you're saying the whole song is about a kid. I mean, it could, and that's in that case, maybe you're right about that. But the first verse says, procession moves on, the shouting is over, praise to the glory of loved ones now gone. It sounds like he's talking about a funeral, right? Yeah. Talking aloud as they sit around their tables, scattering flowers washed down the drain. So the flowers they brought to the funeral are being washed down by the rain, right? Yeah. Stood by the gate at the foot of the garden, watching them pass like clouds in the sky, try to cry out in the heat of the moment, and possessed by a fury that burns from inside. So he's talking about a funeral at the beginning. And then in the second verse, he's talking about a kid. Now, maybe it is that Down syndrome kid, right? But I'm just reading it one way. So, forgive me if I'm being a little passionate about this topic. Because this is an album that I really liked. But this is a song which I don't think I would listen to much, personally. That's my take.
I understand, and the song itself really does kind of sound like, it sounds like a funeral procession when you hear it.
Yes, yes,
It's
yeah,
slow
yeah,
and
yeah.
dirge-like, you know,
Mhm.
with the piano riff, and I personally like this song because I like the way it sounds.
Okay, okay.
But I never interpreted it to mean to be about his kid.
Mm.
I also never knew it was about a kid with Down syndrome either. So I
Right,
just kind of I
right.
kind of just read it as ambiguously, like maybe he got it from like something he read or whatnot. But I mean, if it is about his child, like I could completely understand where you're coming from for sure. I mean,
All right. Any other thoughts, Mark, about this one?
um, yeah, I don't, not really. I just
Okay.
it's definitely the most melancholic song on the album, I think by a long shot. Um, and I understand it sometimes it may be hard to listen to, especially if you're not feeling too great, mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, because obviously he was in a bad place when this album was made, given the
Right.
lyrics and what happened afterwards. But um, I try to just stay positive and like think of, he didn't seem like a terrible person besides like cheating on his wife, but um, I don't know. I don't know. It's food for
All
thought, I
right.
guess.
All right. Mental health is a real. Obviously, it's real. You know what I mean? And mental struggles. And if you're out there and you're struggling, please reach out to somebody. There's plenty of people I'm sure will talk to you. And yeah, don't do what he did. Is what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say.
please
The
don't.
last song is "Decades." So let's get to that one. All right. God, this song reminds me of another song. I know what it is. I'll say it.
Here are the young men who wait on their shoulders. Here are the young men, but where have they been? We knocked on the doors of hell's darker chambers. Pushed to the limit, we dragged ourselves in. Watch from the wings as the scenes were replaying. We saw ourselves now as we never had seen. Betrayal of the trauma and degeneration.
All right, so that was a couple minutes of Decades clip. This song, I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites on the record. It's a good song. Every song on this album is good. They're all good. One of the things I really liked about the song, Mark, though, is the lyrics, again. And it seems like he's talking about young men, going to die for, their country, or putting the burden on young men, right? He literally says that in the first verse. Here are the young men, weight on their shoulders. Here are the young men, where have they been? We knocked on the doors of hell's dark chamber, right? Pushed to the limit, we dragged ourselves in. We watched from the wings as the scenes were playing. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what all the lyrics are about, but that's what it seems like he's talking about to me. That's my interpretation. Of course, I could be wrong. Weary inside, now our hearts lost forever, can't replace the fear of the thrill of the chase. Yeah, so this might be talking about like PTSD. Because like weary inside, now our hearts lost forever, like you lost yourself, can't replace the fear or the thrill of the chase. So if you think about like if you're in a near-death situation a lot, right? That has to be so much like adrenaline going on in your body. You know what I mean? Like that once you go back to civilian life, it's got to be the most weird. I don't know. I've never done it. I'm just guessing, and maybe that's what he's talking about here, right? It's almost like in a nowhere near as serious of a way. I'm not comparing these two exactly, but I'm saying it's almost like a lot of fighters, boxers, UFC fighters, people like that, right? They end up like they might end up with mental health problems themselves, for example, or struggling, and they get into alcohol, they get into drugs and stuff like that. And a lot of times they say it's because they can't get the feeling they had of going out to fight again, basically. Like the feeling of walking up to that ring or the octagon or whatever, the fear, the anxiety that they probably have, the fear, that adrenaline rush, they can never get it again anywhere else. And actually, like for them, life seems kind of boring, without it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I can imagine if you're in a war, right? If you're sent to war and you're a young kid, you're only 18. A lot of these kids are 18. You know what I mean? They're like basically kids. You know what I mean? Now, I mean, I know at 18 is an adult, but it's kind of in the middle of a kid and adult. You know what I mean? Because at 17, you're a kid, and then one day later, you're an adult, right? It's kind of a weird thing. So anyway, so the point is, all right, 17 and 364 days, you cannot go and die for a war. One more day, you're all good. Right? So send them out. Right? No problem. And then it's like, okay. And then, oh yeah, I'm mentally ready to handle this. Yeah, sure. Because I was one day older. And I can imagine you're just seeing atrocities, talking about atrocities, right? Atrocities happening, constant fear. Am I going to die? Am I going to kill somebody else? That's got to be a horrible feeling too, the first time, or I don't know, that happens or whatever. And maybe you become numb to it over time. I have no idea. I'm just saying all of that stuff has to be, the toll that it has to take on your mental psyche has to be extreme. You know what I mean? So I think maybe that's what this song's talking about. And maybe it's a parallel, Mark, back to the first song of his own life in some ways. You know what I mean? Could be. I don't know. Because I think that first song was kind of metaphor parallel too. What do you think about this one?
I really like the song a lot because it's another builder.
Okay.
And it's, it's kind of like slower as well. But yeah, I think this song really stands out for the lyrics, like you said. Like, obviously, there's some allusion to like war and PTSD in this song. Like, this has probably the most obvious lyrics of any of the tracks, I think.
Right.
Yeah, like can't replace the fear or the thrill of the chase. Like you said, like, going to war, like the feeling of like the adrenaline rush and all that stuff. And like you made the analogy with like boxers, and another analogy I would make would be like, like gamblers, like they always chase the thrill of like winning, even going as far to commit gambler's fallacy and, possibly losing everything they have, not even to win money, just to really have that feeling of winning, because there's nothing else like it. That's what I like, the interpretation I get here. Just like, chasing a feeling that you'll never have again. I don't know what particularly he was talking about, but something along those lines. So, I mean, I think that's what I get out of this song. I like the song musically too. Like I said, I like, it's like a slow builder, and it has like a really cool like synth part at the end, and it has like the syncopated drums and stuff. And I think it's a great album closer. I've seen a lot of people say that they think this is the best song on the album, and I think I respectfully disagree with that. Although I do think it's a very good song. Personally, yeah. I don't think it's the best song either, but I do think it's a very good song, and I think it's a good closer too. And it's like, a closer metaphorically too, because it's like the last song that he made before he died. So
I see.
No, I don't know if that's necessarily true, but just on the album, so.
Oh, was Love Will Tear Us Apart the last song?
I think they made that before this album.
Oh, I see. Okay. Interesting. Man, imagine if that song was on this album. Damn, that would be crazy.
It definitely wouldn't fit, because it sounds more like Unknown Pleasures, I think, more vibes from that. Yeah, okay. So when you eventually listen to Unknown Pleasures, you'll probably agree with me, I would assume.
Okay. Well, Mark, overall, a very enjoyable album to listen to. There was one song I would say, as you know, I didn't enjoy as much, mainly because I just, it's hard to listen to. A very good song, though. That's the thing about these songs is they're all good songs, right? And some are great. Now, maybe you think they're all great if you're out there, and that's fine. We all have subjective opinions. But I think some are good, some are better than others, right? But that's like any band. Like, and not every song is going to be equally good. So yeah, I think my top three on the album would be Isolation, Heart and Soul, and 24 Hours. Those would be my personal top three. But all the songs were good. Liked all the songs. What about you, Mark? What are your top three if you had to pick?
I would say 24 Hours, Isolation, and either Heart and Soul or Colony. I think I like those two a lot.
Yeah, Colony's really good too. Yeah, but all the songs are good. So, thanks, Mark, for doing this one with me. I think I suggested this one actually.
You did. Was this a what's his name? Tobias pick?
No, this was a coworker of mine actually. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
we got to listen to New Order after this.
Yeah, New Order he said it was his favorite band actually. So he suggested listen to this one and then listening to New Order, the album after this. So that's what we're gonna do. So we'll do a New Order episode coming up in a little bit. So if you want to see that, let us know. Let us know in the comments if you want to see us do a New Order. It would be whatever the first New Order album is. I forget what it's called, but I have it the vinyl over
So
there.
the first one is actually called oh my god, I'm drawing like a blank right now. Movement.
Oh,
and
it
sounds very similar to. It sounds more similar to Joy Division, but the album after that is called Power, Corruption, Lies. That's the one you have, right?
Yes, that's the one we're gonna do next because I bought the vinyl for that, and that was his recommendation. He said that was his favorite album. So
that's when they really transitioned to the New Order sound. So that's better to listen to than Movement because Movement sounds closer to Joy Division. So
all right. Well, I'm excited for that. If you're still watching this episode, thank you. It's been a long one, but a good one, a fun one, an in-depth one, right? We got into a lot of different topics, did some deep dives. Yeah, that's what we do on this channel. Not every episode is this long, but some of them are. So if you like the idea of in-depth music reviews, album reviews, and sometimes short form and sometimes reaction videos, give us a like, subscribe. That will really help the channel, and maybe there's some other stuff you'd like. We actually have a free community Discord. It's our way for our viewers to interact with each other and us, and vice versa. So we go in there, we chat about music, we share stuff. So if you like the idea of like-minded people talking about music, please join. We'd love to have you there. We're always looking for cool people like you out there. The link for that will be in the pinned comment. All right, it's totally 100% free, by the way. Well, Mark, until next time.
Later, goth boys.
See you later. All right, see you later.